So they pushing one common intention. It's for a better life in the region, for the woman and their children. That must be the ambition of the Caribbean man, the Caribbean man, the Caribbean man.
Yes, I was just saying, Professor, good night. You're very early, man.
Yeah, well, I know. I say, well, when I check the time, I say, let me just give a little hello there.
I appreciate that, but we now getting started. So, if you want, you can make a contribution now. You just be you just be an early bird. That's all.
All right, the song is flower, man.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yes, man.
Yeah. What you know, what I'm going to answer is it makes me feel sad when I hear all this amount of people unemployed. I hear it's over 100,000 people.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's so, then we see why crime is so high in the country because so much are unemployed people.
Yeah, that's a fact, and of course I have expressed my deep concern and my consternation, frankly, as to the exponential and burgeoning amount of petty crimes that is now plaguing the country. I don't know if the authorities have been informed or are aware, of course, because of a state of emergency, and I expect the police to try to play down the seriousness, I should say the seriousness, but certainly to try to appear to be in charge, large, and in control. But we have a duty as citizens to say that we are very concerned about what is developing to be, of course, a fireball which will be very difficult to extinguish, even by the police service, and therefore it may well be there's a nexus between, of course, the shutting down of these various programs that would have put food on the table for many, subsistence as it is. But we do not want to be in a position where we take an action trying, of course, to dispel the criminal elements, the gangs and so on, and then defeat the purpose for which the entire exercise was intended. That's why I believe we are obligated to, of course, inform and raise the alarm that is very disconcerting at this point in time. Go ahead.
Yeah, but what I'm saying to what's going on with with Beckers and them, they're trying to rile up the people to have a protest against the UNC, to make the UNC
go to the top of the class. Go to the top of the class. That is the fear. That is that is the elephant in the atmosphere, and they are going to do it. They are doing it, and it's as a consequence of that abundance of cautionary disposition. I felt that as the what I consider to be one of the grassroots, if not the only true grassroots element in the coalition of interest, that be brought at whatever risk to the attention, because you know there are those who will remain silent because they probably getting some kind of a, let's say, taste of the spoils, and therefore they don't want to tarnish that narrow, or should I say selfish opportunity. I cannot sacrifice the greater good, the country, for narrow interests, of course, interest, intervention, or concerns. So that is my position on the matter. So I want to thank you, of course, for raising that as a first. Of course, we have a little segment with my son, just about 5 or 10 minutes. He's going to read something, and then we get into big people business. But since you say you want to start with big people business, I have no problem with that. Go ahead.
Well, I just tell you that kudos to your son, and I just hope he take in your footsteps, and I just hope he listen to what I said, because your father is a very great man, not only by what he say, but he's a God-sent man. Because only when God is in you, you could be a person like what you are, Mr. Smith. And that's why I just hope your son takes something from you, like how Jesus takes from his father. Right, brother? And you keep it up and understand you have to learn from your father, hear what he has to say, keep in touch with him, and hold it down tight, and God will lead you, because children who obey their parents have a peace with God. Thank you, Mr. Smith, and good night.
Good night to you as well. Of course, Joshua, I'm sure you want to respond. Go ahead.
Thank
First,
you.
by saying good night. Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead. Make your response.
Well, that was a very nice comment, and thank you.
All right, good.
Okay. Thank you, John.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
All right. Yes. So let's go, people, straight to Joshua, because he is here, and of course we have about 5 to 10 minutes with him. He has a book to read. Sorry about that. Yeah, everything was thrown of course, with that very early call. I suppose early risers get the fattest worm, so he got a chance to, of course, express his deep concern with respect to the developments that are taking place. What I would consider to be, it may have been overlooked, it may have not been considered, but of course we have to be able to be pragmatic, practical, and then of course raise the appropriate alarm at the appropriate time to make certain that the cordiality and the progress that came out as a consequence of the 28th of April elections is not scuttled unduly, because the PNM is on the rampage. They are desperate. They don't want whatever criminal and or civil action to take place against their operatives from the past, from a past time, and therefore they will do all in their power to try to preempt. We have a duty to say, we know what you are up to, and we are going to countervail, we are going to react to, of course, that kind of what I consider the undermining of decency, of the process of integrity, and the process as well of justice, as well as equitable distribution according to deserving characteristics of individuals in the. In other words, the PNM must not believe they can get more than their fair share by corrupt means, and then of course go either into the sunlight or stay in our faces and believe that they can of course generate the havoc to deflect. That being as it may, of course, a good night to Joshua. May make your formal introduction, and then of course tell us what you are going to read about tonight. I may want, of course, from the article or from the passage that you would have read, I may have some grammar and or English type questions for you. But go ahead.
Good night, everybody.
Yes. What are you going to read tonight?
A book called Emergency.
Right.
Yes, the background is green. I mean, it's yellow, but I don't know why it's showing.
We have yes a green screen in the background, so if a color is green, it appears to be transparent.
My jersey is kind of green.
Yeah, but it depends on the kind of green, I suppose. All right, go ahead, Joshua. That book, big boy, big in the sense of the geometric size.
Everybody might see my face. So.
You want to push back? No, we have to find a way. We have to get a mic to pin on you that kind of way, so that we don't have that kind of difficulty. All right, but go ahead. Let's work with the constraints we have.
Call 999 emergency.
I wonder if they're hearing. Is there a way you could do it? Could we? Where's the book? Go back a little more. Wait, that's it. Go back a little more, right? Put the book down here. Just
I know what to do.
What are you going to do? You're going to hold the mic?
Yeah.
All right, okay. All right, no problem. That's one way.
Call 999 emergency. Burglars are making a getaway. Police car dashing bright lights, flashing. Help is coming. It's on its way.
All right. First, what the book is all about, I would have assumed, one, you might have read it already, but then, of course, you will at least tell us the theme so that people could have in their own minds and formulate, whilst you're reading, some images in their own mind. You know, human beings are like that. They love that. Go ahead.
I told you the name of the book is Emergency.
Oh, you said emergency. Yeah, sorry about that. Nobody. You don't vex with your dad. You know, when you're getting older and older, sometimes the mind goes in a particular direction. But that being as it may, go ahead, young man.
I have to flip the page because the
Yeah, okay.
ambulance speeding emergency. We pulling over. Make way, siren screaming, light beaming, beaming. Help is coming on its way.
People, of course, if he has problems with a word, I would expect that he will ask me, and of course, we together will rectify this situation. So this is live and direct. We are doing this because we want to make you understand that there's nothing mysterious about us, and therefore you shouldn't believe that somehow somebody is more superior to you. That happens in situations where a child is growing, they are in a learning environment, they will make mistakes, just as we have as children growing up and even as adults, but we probably are expected to make less mistakes as adults, at least not the mistakes that children would have made. But so go ahead, Joshua.
I think I skipped some pages.
Some pages. You're reading the whole book because you don't have time, you know. You just have about 5 more minutes. Go ahead. And this emergency theme that you're sharing with us. Go ahead.
Tree on the track emergency, but breaking down. Train can clear the way. Huge crane, hook lifting, shifting. Help is coming, honestly.
Now that I see you mumble something, isn't it? Where you mumble it? Oh, I thought you was mumbling something to try to get away. Children do that in school for the teachers to pretend that they know what they're talking about, but in fact they were mumbling themselves away out of difficulty. No,
Maybe.
if you don't know a word, you say so. You say so. There's nothing wrong with that. When you know, then don't forget. Most important. Go ahead.
Boat sinking fast emergency. Launch the lifeboats in a storm and spray.
Spray what? Yes, spray, yes, spray.
Spray. Long ropes crossing, lifeboat dropping. Help is coming on its way. This book is very big. I have trouble.
Yeah, physically it's big, but in terms of words, plenty pictures, but little words. And that's what he likes. He likes plenty pictures, but little words. Little words meaning here, not the complexity of the word, not the sophistication of the word, but the amount of writing that is contained in the book. that is him. He's a lazy guy, you know. But we will deal with that eventually. Is we have to get them involved and get them accustomed, and you'll see how reading will come second nature as a consequence. Go ahead, Joshua.
This book is very big. Sometimes I don't really watch inside the book. Sometimes I just pick up the book. And that's what I do with this book. I just pick it up.
All right. Well, let's see how far you can reach now because we just have about two more minutes.
2?
Yep. So quickly, go ahead.
From police motorbike, emergency traffic build up on the motorway, zipping, revving cars, directing,
Directing what?
Directing.
What? is on the way. Right. Okay.
Fire blazing emergency, but firefighters fighting plane. Zoom on their way, swooping the water.
All right.
Happens on the
I quickly, we'll stop. We'll have to pause it. We'll continue tomorrow. We have to get into the big people segment. Tell me quickly what you learned from what you have read so far.
emergency.
Emergency, yes, but give me a little detail now, man. When I ask you that, we know the book is about emergency, but I mean, they have identified, they have described the kind of emergency. So tell me what you learned from that.
Police, firefighters, ambulance helping people.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well said, well said, well said. Well, nicely observed. And what would they have been on their way to some emergency,
Yes.
like a fire?
Yes.
Any other emergency besides fire that you would have read so far or understand the book to be all about?
Fire, thieving, burglaring,
Oh, so you're talking about other forms of emergency where
traffic
people
building
steal.
up,
Crime,
getting hurt.
getting hurt and so on. All right, but give your parting words.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, okay, a good one. A parting word, bye-bye. All right, okay. That is rhetorical, I suppose. All right, people, of course, let's see how. So on a Saturday, of course, I dedicate the entire program to the kids, so you can look forward to Saturday. But during the week, of course, we just give just 5 to 10 minutes, and then of course we go to the substantive topic dealing with the adults. So see you later, Joshua.
Bye-bye. I also don't think I'll be here.
You try with a federation, the whole thing end in confusion. CARICOM and then CARIFTA, but somehow a spelling disaster. Mr. West Indian politician, I mean you went to a big institution, and how come you can't unite 7 million? When a West Indian unity, I know it's very easy. If you only rap to your people and tell them like me, them is one race,
The Caribbean man,
from the same place,
the Caribbean man,
that make the same trip,
the Caribbean man,
on the same ship.
the Caribbean man.
So we must push one common intention. It's for a better life in the region. For we woman and we children. That must be the ambition of the Caribbean man, the Caribbean man, the Caribbean man. You say that the Federation was imported quite from England, and you're going on for a Carifta with a true West Indian flavor. But since Carifta started running, morning, noon, and night all are hearing. It's just money speech, them Prime Minister giving. But I say no set of money could form a unity. First of all, your people need their identity like one race,
The Caribbean man,
from the same place,
the Caribbean man,
that make the same trip,
the Caribbean man,
on the same ship.
the Caribbean man.
So we must push one common intention. It's for a better life in the region. For we woman and we children. That must be the ambition of the Caribbean man, the Caribbean man, the Caribbean man. CARICOM is wasting time. The whole Caribbean gone blind. If we don't know from where we come in, then we can't plan where we going. That's why some want to be communists, brother, some want to be socialists, and one set a religion to add to the foolishness. Look, a man who don't know his history can't form no unity. How could a man who don't know his roots form his own ideology like one race?
It appears that the mic was off, so let me just restart and rephrase. A pleasant good night to all and sundry, East, West, North, South, Central, our friends in Tobago, and wherever you are, streaming on the World Wide Web. A pleasant good day to you. Of course, the topic clearly from the music will be, of course, our Caribbean unity. And whether or not there is a sincere and genuine Caribbean unity, having regard, of course, to the Treaty of Chaguaramas that was signed, of course, by the initial, of course, should I say, founding members of what is known today as CARICOM. What is the state of affairs? We have a situation, a geo, what I say, Western Hemisphere political atmosphere that have really, of course, defined that there is a need for everyone to seek their own interests. You see, there are some things that we can commonly, of course, appreciate and work towards. Maybe a common market arrangement, the universal movement of people, goods already has that status, having regard to the fact that commerce is one way, of course, countries interact with each other in order, of course, to satisfy their domestic population's need, and in the process engage in activities where there's a shortage or because their productive capacity does not allow, but yet still there is a taste. They call it, of course, a foreign taste, or a taste for a product that is produced by another country, and therefore commerce takes place, and of course utilizing the common denominator for commerce, or should I say the means of exchange, the common means of exchange that man has invented, which of course is money. In the context of modern international trade, well, we look at the greenback or the United States dollar in the main. Of course, there are other international currencies such as the pound, to a lesser extent, of course, the franc and the German currency, but certainly even Canadian, and I'm surprised that the Canadians are not that high on the list in terms of being recognized closer to be an international, what I consider to be exchange entity or quantity. But that being as it may, the fact is that the contemporary Caribbean is now grappling with a situation where its main members, and I include Guyana here for reasons well known to you, and while they were minor maybe a decade or two ago, they are now a major player. Thus, of course, the attraction, the gravitation, the pendulum swing to Guyana, and interests expressed by, of course, nations that at one time didn't know where Guyana was on the map. Today, they are being, Guyana that is being sought after with a rapidity and a rapaciousness, meaning a greediness that, of course, could have never been contemplated, let's say, 2 decades ago. Indeed, one will see now a rapid increase in the population of Guyana, less than 1 million when the century turned, and up to today. But I anticipate that in the next 25 to 30 years, the Guyanese population will soar. Why? Because it has a tremendous potential And of course, its economy is booming, and it will take a long time before any bust of any kind begins to show cracks or crevices in the economic advancement of that country. Of course, Trinbagonians, as good entrepreneurs, also see that as the Americans, as the Canadians, and as other countries farther afield like Russia, China, Iran. But of course, while they would recognize, they certainly have to also recognize that that is in the sphere of United States influence, because Exxon and the other major oil producing, or should I say, oil searching businesses, oil searching and extracting businesses such as Chevron will not allow, of course, Iran or China, even though China is there but playing a very low-key role. But certainly Russia and North Korea, that is far-fetched until, of course, some drastic development would have had to take place for mending relationships between these countries and, of course, that of the United States. So let's face it, just as Trinidad and Tobago, Guyana is in the sphere of the American influence, and they are not going to relinquish that anytime soon. Why am I starting there? Well, I'm starting there because no one could doubt that the Guyanese and Trinbagonian government or people are part of CARICOM in the first place, a sub-regional group. But we have seen that in recent time there has been some strain on the relationship. Consequential of ripples, consequential of, some may say, earthquakes. And I'm not using here, I'm using earthquake here figuratively, not literally, in terms of relations. And what we have seen is that has caused people taking positions, countries or parts of the community, CARICOM community, taking positions. And that is normal. That is normal. What, of course, must be concerning when there are those who in themselves are taking positions but want to pronounce on how other countries in the agreement or in the relationship or in the community, what positions they should take. And of course, the question of the zone of peace concept rears its head, and we have to deal with it. I agree. But we must start from a realistic perspective, and that is that no country in the CARICOM arrangement wants war. More so, none of them can go to war. You know what I say? I said none of them could go to war, not even with each other. A physical war. A war, of course, with guns and bombs and so on. So let's get that clear. But of course, you could insist on a zone of peace. That in itself is a self-interest perspective as well, you know. Because if you don't have any guns, but you have bow and arrows and so on, I know you can't fight no war with that. Of course, you will be clamoring for being a zone of peace and that you're a peaceful country, a peaceful nation, etc. However, when comes a fly that lands in that ointment You notice I'm being very figurative tonight. When a fly lands in that ointment, bringing, of course, its disease and pollution and so on, and then, of course, the position changes depending on the impact that fly that is disease ridden would have on the, should I say, the validity or the integrity of your medicine, of your ointment. That's all. And that really and truly is the crux of the matter with respect to our CARICOM brothers and the position of Trinidad and Tobago and Guyana, and the concept, of course, of a zone of peace. That's what is happening. In other words, neither Grenada, St. Vincent, Dominica, Barbados, even Jamaica can be, and in fact have been de facto affected as Trinidad and Tobago, and indeed Guyana, but I'm talking Trinidad and Tobago here, with respect to the offloading, outpouring, the emigration. You know, there are two words. One begin with a I, immigration, meaning coming into, and emigration begins with an E, but means going out of. Or put another way, just in case, I just thought I should put that into the equation, but just to say the migration, the movement. But I was putting it in the context of emigration because it's moving out. And therefore, the question of Venezuela comes to the fore. We are closer to the Venezuelan state or landmass than that of our Tobago binary partner. Our Tobago unitary state partner, Trinidad and Tobago unitary state partner, Tobago. Yeah. And as a consequence, Trinidad and Tobago per capita, because we are a small dot compared to, let's say, Venezuela, let's say Colombia, let's say Peru, let's say Suriname, let's say Paraguay and Uruguay and Chile, of course, and Argentina and Brazil, all of which are part of the South American continent. And they are not separated by water, like maybe a river or two may come in between, but certainly they are seen as conjoined land masses. So what does Trinidad and Tobago do in such circumstance? There is a dichotomy in Venezuela. On the one hand, there is a dictatorship. Let's not waste time and play with words. There's a dictatorship in Venezuela that has attracted a tremendous amount of disapprobation by northern influential hegemonious entities, whether it is in Europe or in Northern America. I'm talking about the so-called Western world. And therefore, the threat to democracy real. And as a consequence, these countries have decided not to do business with, or it is not business as usual with Venezuela. The regime there, however, insists that they will remain in office by force, if necessary, and they have demonstrated that. But in the process, what has happened, the deterioration, hyperinflation, the mainstay in terms of their economic activity has, of course, floundered and has deteriorated and has become emaciated. Very thin. And so they are unable to sustain the 27 million people that originally was the size of the population of Venezuela. I say originally because some say 7 million of that 27 million migrated or emigrated out of that country. Now, it is nice if they emigrated or they migrated, and that could be some kind of abstract scenario. But in reality, they would have had to go somewhere. And one of the places that they ended up is in Trinidad and Tobago. Again, because of our geographic proximity. And one of the places or other places that they have not ended up as prolific as Trinidad and Tobago is in Grenada, St. Vincent, Dominica, Jamaica, and of course, Barbados. Why? Again, because of the proximity, the nearness. And therefore, any government that is worth its salt in the context of managing Trinidad and Tobago must have that as a priority, particularly in circumstances where our mainstay, oil first and then gas, has overtaken it. But nonetheless, we rely, of course, on our hydrocarbon, of course, should I say, good luck or blessings to maintain our economy. We have invested a tremendous amount of infrastructure in terms of utilizing and of course converting and monetizing our gas resources into, of course, opportunities for our population in the main. And what we have seen is that we have remained, of course, with the infrastructure, because of course this is comprised of steel and other what I consider to be longevity items or metals. But yet still, the commodity to make those construction, I'm talking about the methanol plants and the urea plants and the, of course, and the gas, LNG, gas plants, etc. We have seen that commodity gas in the earth, in Trinidad and Tobago's jurisdiction and influence and control, has been exhausting with a rapidity that is now affecting our economic standing in terms of being able to continue having access to financial resources to meet the population's need, having regard, one, to our food import bill of over $4 billion annually, and of course the importation of what I consider to be machinery and other items to either replace obsolete or to get technologically advanced equipment and material from, of course, exporters or from other countries. In other words, we don't produce it to satisfy our what I consider to be, and compared to the rest of the Caribbean or CARICOM, our developing industrial base, of course, outside of oil and gas. because that too is an industry, or those two are industries. So it is critical that we understand those issues and the role and responsibility of a government in such circumstance in order to make certain that the country continues with the standard of living and quality of life that we all aspire to and would love to continue or to advance. So the role of the government is clear. It has always been automatically, if you want to call it that, or by any rational definition, an established definition, and by definition, a government is responsible for taking care of its population. That is what you are elected for. Because I am being very, very, very patient, and I'm being eclectic, and at the same time I may sound to be pedantic, sounding academic, but it is important that we understand that these factors, these variables that will cause a government in Trinidad and Tobago to act in a particular way. And if they act in a way that the circumstance does not require, then they are acting inimical to our best interests and the advancement of the responsibility that they would have taken on as a government, consequential of the population reposing its trust in that government by virtue of the party electoral system that we have, of course, grasped and we have practiced. Are talking here about the Westminster system of government. But let me just pause to say that, of course, the line is open. Let me just check my phone to make sure. Where's my phone? I'm not seeing my phone. Oh, yes. Let me make sure that the phone is up and is running. But, of course, the number to call, 337-69. Yes, the phone is up and running. 337-6940. But let me make sure on the system itself whether or not, because I don't think that I had observed. Yeah, it's here. All right, so the number to call, 337-6940. I expect, of course, that you will be able to get in at both levels, whether it be at the level of the handset or at the level of the system itself. Of course, I know that some of you are smiling as well. Yeah, well, that is should I say the image to my back. Yeah, it is a continuation of the caricature, the mockery, the cartoon-like tendency of the previous leaders of the PNM and who had the reins of government for the better part of a term and more, or put another way, for 9-point-something years, nearly 9.5 years. You see, because it's important that we make the comparative analysis to find out whether or not we should be here at this point in time in terms of our economy, in terms of the state of affairs, or indeed the reverse is the case, and whether we ought not to be here at all. And therefore we have to critically examine why we are here when we would have, of course, accepted the fact that we either ought not to be, or it was unavoidable that we be here. I am making the postulation from the beginning, but of course I am doing so with a high degree of certainty and irrefutability that we ought not to be in the state that we are in today. I'm also postulating, while at the same time being as pragmatic as possible in terms of my argument as to why. And clearly, the conduct, the management of Trinidad and Tobago over the period 9 point something years, and to be more specific, the period between 2015 and the 28th of April 2025, yes, this year, just about 6 months ago. We ought not to have been in this situation if they had managed our resources properly and managed the country's interests. And don't get me vexed, because I start from that perspective, but I have tonight as well, as a responsible patriot and one who has a focus on the East-West corridor and one who has a passionate affiliation and consciousness for the people of East Port of Spain, Laventil, Beetham, Sealers, etc. And that has been a consistency that no one who have been observing the activities of Lennox Smith will have any qualms or any doubt about. Once again, of course, the line is open, the 337-6940, and we will take your calls. Don't believe that you are disturbing. I know these topics these days are very dense and tense, and of course, very, what I consider to be saturated with information that one can use to either convince oneself one way or another of consequential of the nature of the topic and the position taken. Because even though I am in a subjective environment, meaning that we too love Laventil Outreach for Vertical Enrichment, are part and parcel of the coalition of interests led by the UNC and of course the Honorable Prime Minister Kamala Prasad Bisesa. I have no illusions that perfection is an idea. Perfection is a work in constant progress and dynamism. Yeah, perfection. So I will be the first to say that human beings are always vulnerable and susceptible to mistakes. But we have to examine whether or not these mistakes are genuine mistakes, and I will define what a genuine mistake is, as opposed to an artificial, or should I say a constructed, a choreographed mistake. I want to tell you that the latter two, constructive and choreographed, lands in the bosom of the previous PNM administration under Rowley and of course Stuart Young. And let him cry how much he wants. Let him cry. Yes, I know that you are getting some drones, as we like to say in East Port of Spain, on of course Stuart Young. But let him cry. The most they could do, and I put that picture there to symbolize the nonsense that are being spoken, exhibited, conducted under the guise of being in opposition. Before I go further, let me just demonstrate that by a recent statement made by Brian Manning. You wouldn't believe that a big man who claimed to be some kind of accountant, let me repeat, some kind of accountant, some kind of minister in the Ministry of Finance, don't know that all vehicles in Trinidad and Tobago must have an insurance, a vehicular insurance. Must be covered by some kind of insurance like that. He don't know that. You doubted me? I say Brian Manning does not know that every vehicle in Trinidad and Tobago. In fact, what he said in Parliament, most astonishingly, is that he believes that because government has the largest amount of money, that their vehicles are not supposed to be insured. You know what I say? I say that Brian Manning believes that because government has the largest amount of money in the country, that government vehicles must not be insured. And by that asinine logic, by that dotish logic, by that empty, what I consider to be dense and fatuous statement, fatuous, yes, totally obtuse, I could draw the conclusion as well that because Nilan Massey is a big conglomerate, that the vehicles that are used by the company to execute its operations shouldn't pay insurance. That is what Manning told us. You doubting me? Let's go to that before, of course, we continue. We need to, of course, disabuse. We need to make certain that we call them out for the charlatans that they are and the ignoramus that they have demonstrated, particularly now in opposition. Because when they were in government, they clearly was displaying the hubris that we saw, the arrogance, the contempt, was merely to cover up their ignorance and their lack of knowledge, in other words, and being unfit to be in government. Listen to him.
Before you laugh and embarrass yourself, right? Usually, insurance is...
Hello.
All right, sir. Come on, thank you. We seem to have zoomed by 3:34. So I wanted to ask a question then. Page
So he's asking a question.
0261, insurance. Can I ask what falls under that line item of insurance?
Taking a little time, but we will get there. Somehow he believes that
Yes, this usually covers insurance for vehicles and or buildings and so on. Just double checking some information. Yeah? It's not the medical insurance, from what I know.
It's only for motor vehicle insurance. Only motor vehicle insurance.
Not only, there are other assets that are also insured.
Is it a requirement that these vehicles be insured?
listen to this man.
As state vehicles, before you laugh and embarrass yourself, right? Usually, insurance is...
All right, sir, Barataria.
Allow me to educate Barataria, please.
They are also insured.
Is it a requirement that these vehicles be insured? Because as state vehicles, before you laugh and embarrass...
They are also insured.
Is it a requirement that these vehicles be insured? Because as state vehicles...
They are also insured.
Is it a requirement that these vehicles be insured? Because as state vehicles... Before you laugh and embarrass yourself, is it a requirement that these vehicles be insured? Because as state vehicles... Is it a requirement that these vehicles be insured? Because as state vehicles...
Now just imagine that. He is asking the question, is it a requirement that as state vehicles, that these, because they are state vehicles, whether they should be insured? And he goes on to give the most amazing explanation as to why he would have made a statement like that, when clearly it ought not to have been made, because I'm sure that he would be paying insurance for his vehicle. But I suppose because he's an ordinary person and don't have a bank account like the government, that he has to pay. But the government vehicles, the vehicles owned by the government don't have to pay, because the they control the treasury of the country. Listen to him.
Before you laugh and embarrass yourself.
And he has the audacity to talk
Usually,
about people embarrassing themselves.
insurance is.
All right, sir, Barataria.
Allow me to educate Barataria, please. When you are insured, it's because you're being protected by an institution with a higher financial strength that you have.
Now you tell me, that head he have there, if he was in Laventil, I'm not promoting violence, but come on, you spit in your hand. It's just one clout for that kind of talk that he talking there. Listen to him again, explaining why government vehicles should not, or for him, government vehicles are not insured. And he has the audacity and the temerity and the bold-facedness, totally ablum, that straight face, to tell people he educating them. Well, let me tell you young people out there, disregard these people. The entire PNM bench. Disregard it. From that example alone, it tells me the level of ignorance, and the PNM didn't have to dig far to conjure up nincompoops like that. Listen to him.
It's because you're being protected by an institution with a higher financial strength that you have. Kate Barataria, please. When you are insured, it's because you're being protected by an institution with a higher financial strength that you have. So who would have a greater financial strength than the state or the government of Trinidad and Tobago? I'm asking if that's a requirement.
Okay. Mr.
Hang on. Before you answer that, Minister, have you checked the motor vehicles and road traffic?
But that's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
That's what I'm asking. Is that the case?
You are asking the question, so before you ask the
Exactly, I'm
hang
asking
on
the
a
question.
second.
And he argued, you know.
If I knew the answer, I wouldn't ask the question.
Before you ask the question as to whether or not the corporation has an obligation to insure its vehicles, you should first determine the state of the law.
Mr. Chairman, I am not the one required to make the payment.
Well, I'm not going to, having regard to the state of the law, I'm not going to allow that.
What is the state of the law?
All vehicles must be insured, third party risk.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Well, I'm not going to, having regard to the state of the law, I'm not going to allow that.
What is the state of the law?
All vehicles must be insured, third party.
Now, Manning reminds me of an infamous now statement that would normally be regurgitated repetitively by Rowley. Remember, he used to say that they start off by saying they don't know, and then they say that they know, and can tell you all of the nuances or all of the as a total person endowed with esoteric qualities that they know. Esoteric, they know. They are familiar. And he used to do that to downgrade and to humiliate the people. People like Ralph Maraj comes to mind immediately. They don't know, but then they know, and then they go on, of course, to make statements as if they know. Of course, we know that that administration was famous for keeping information from people through, of course, a mechanism called non-disclosure clauses. Remember that? Non-disclosure clause. So they keep you in ignorance and then claim that your ignorance is your own doing, and then Rowley comes up and say, well, now that you have to now speculate, now you have to use what is called inductive and deductive reasoning, rationalization, common sense approaches based on a series of actions and or circumstance to draw a conclusion, since the government is not forthcoming with the information Rowley created that scenario and then say that people think they don't know what they're talking about, but then becomes an expert. Well, I think, of course, Manning seemed to be a victim of that exact scenario. Listen to him again, and listen to the speaker or the presiding officer in the General Finance Committee stage of the budgetary process that they would have been engaging. And of course, since Khadija Amin is the Minister of Rural Development and of course local government, one would assume that was of course the discussion at the time. Let's go straight to the line. Ah boy, I thought nobody would have called tonight. Go ahead, Mr. Freeport. Welcome to the corridor.
Good night to you and all the followers and the whole of Trinidad and Tobago.
Yes, man.
When you hear a man don't know that he don't know how stupid he is, it's a bad thing, you know.
I'm telling you, man. I mean, it's embarrassing to any unlimited degree. I mean, come on, a big man like that, he's supposed to be in accounts and a man knowledgeable in finances and so on, and will make that very fundamental mistake. Come on, that can't be a mistake, man. That has to be total ignorance. Go ahead.
Them can be in accounts by whatever company they go as accountant or whatever, or in working in accounts, they closing down the company.
Of course, nobody will hire he after they hear that to monitor or to engage in the accounting department to monitor the fiscal activities of the institution. Go ahead.
That set of PNM that we have now. You see, when you make a smoothie and you strain it and you squeeze out everything and you throw the rest off over the window, that is them they hand out.
I thought you was going to say that they are more like the function of the intestine. The small intestine, of course, it absorbs all of the major ingredients that will satisfy the body, and then the rest goes to the large intestine, and it is then, of course, defecated. I suppose it's something like that you're trying to say as well, I suppose.
Them is the end product of the big intestine.
All right, good of digestion. I agree with you, my friend. Yes. End product, yes.
Lennox, I want to thank you for yesterday.
No problem.
And just as you leave me, boy, a lady come, but she came to work late.
I see.
She said, young boy, you need some help? I said, I will appreciate it. And we had was to go further up the street.
Okay, right. You see, I tell you there are two here. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, she took me up in her car.
All right, great.
Will drive me around and carry me and take me up in the elevator.
Right, yes,
put
elevator.
Me sit down on a chair.
Right.
And everybody who had to attend to me, she get them to come and attend to me where I was sitting.
Great.
And you know what? She was running late for work.
Okay.
She didn't sign in or acknowledge. Right. And she makes sure and everything was right.
All right.
And every time they go inside to do up the paperwork and they want to find out something, they come back. Whoever. It was about 4 or 5 persons.
Wow! You got royal treatment, boy.
Yes, so I tell
you feel like a king bee.
I tell that woman she from San Fernando, but she don't want she name call. I said no problem.
All right, okay.
I tell she, I say, ma'am, I say here what happened. When the Lord can come, He will send somebody, and He send you. Right. I said, because my friend who came with me, he had a other engagement, and I run late, so he couldn't assist me.
Right.
And she make sure the wheelchair, the box couldn't fit in her car.
Right.
Get one of the company, the government vehicle.
Right.
put it in there and bring it and put it by my car and we
Oh,
get it in my
marvelous,
car.
marvelous, marvelous, man.
So
And they say things have, they say that the people have given up. I mean, don't. When you see instances like this and people like these, you say, well, it is worth living in Trinidad and Tobago because you still have people who are good Samaritans. Go ahead.
And
Yes.
I thank all of them. I thank all of them. I said, I wish the rest of the Social Welfare Institute have people like all you. I said,
Very
because
good,
I
very
went to Gonas and I didn't get this kind of treatment. you
Wow,
know?
wow, wow. I mean, that would have been a lot of smiles, would have attracted a lot of smiles and gratitude, you know, for a person recognizing the service. I mean, and that is all people want to know. It's not about money. Whilst money is important, but certainly is about these additional, what I consider to be accolades that makes a person feel wanted and feel that they could see another day in Trinidad and Tobago and live a long life in Trinidad and Tobago, rather than the young people who are now saying to live to age 25 is to live to old age. I wish that time could come where all in Trinidad and Tobago, particularly along the East-West Corridor, East Port of Spain, Laventon, Beetham, and so on, would be, of course, taking that position. We have some way to go still. They are still good people, but of course they are too far and in between, and therefore their impact is not as prevailing as it ought to. So at this time, at least, go ahead, my friend.
Yes, well, oh, wow, what to talk about? Oh, your friend, your good friend.
Who's that?
Like she reaching Rhoda Barrett.
Right, okay, go ahead. Yes,
Like right now she's sitting in a hot pot of water.
Is it that as the Prime Minister would like to say, is it that she is standing up in a bucket of water, standing up inside the water and trying to pull it up?
All that.
Impossible situation. Go ahead. Yeah.
Because all the allegations they make, this apparently somebody see that she was lying.
Right.
Because she said that the Attorney General and the Prime Minister was hiding, and the President was hiding out of the country. But after she said that, the President was lighting deer by she resident. Why? So, you know, the PNM
the propaganda. Well, just as them, the self. Because as we have seen there with, in this case, the example is Brand Manning, but all of them, we have some very caught on camera, of course, glaring exemplification of their foolishness and their nincompoopish character. But all of them seem to be, of course, in that state of total cognitive and intellectual decline, man. I mean, this is a sorrow. They have collapsed, in other words. But go ahead.
Well, in our another program that is beyond lunchtime, I asked all the PNM supporters, I say, here what happening? I'm not asking all you to support the UNC. But I just want all you to see what the UNC trying to do for the country.
Right.
And support that. And I said, just watch what the PNM don't want to support and think about your next move, what to do. Because the government trying to better the country, better the life of the people of the country. And everything they talk about, the PNM have a problem with it.
Yes.
Like they just come to oppose for opposing sake. You know, they don't have nothing good to do. And
right.
I want to ask Penny why she's supporting the criminal and them so much. Is it true that she brother still a criminal? Or he come off of that?
Yeah, boy. Mouth open, Tory jump out, boy.
Right?
Caller, just hold on. We have one caller on the line on the.
All right.
Yeah.
I
Okay
would
then.
give way.
All right. Thanks very much. Thanks very much, Mr. Freeport. Go ahead, sir, or madam. Good night. Hello. Good night. All right. Call back, caller. Let us continue, of course, with the caricature, with the lampooning of Brian Manning, who made a complete ass of himself. Complete and total. There could be no doubt. With a very, what I consider trivial, basic issue that he ought to have been aware of. And it would have been inescapable of him to have made that statement relating to insurance of vehicles in this country. Because I'm sure that he would have owned many vehicles, unless the vehicle was his father's and he never, and he was insulated from those responsibilities, and therefore. But I still can't forgive him because he was made, of course, a minister in the Ministry of Finance. And that by itself says that rudimentary things like that, rudimentary, elementary, that should have been and ought to have been, especially in a person like that, commonplace. It should be, of course, a part of his DNA. I want to go that far. I want to say it ought to have been automatic that he would have known. But let's listen to the speaker or the presiding officer in the exercise, or superintending the exercise, which of course is the standing committee on finance, that committee that looks at the annual budget clause by clause. And on this occasion, in the hot seat, if you want to call it that, was the Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, Kedisha Amin. And listen to the asinine statement made by Brian Manning. I will go back to it, but let's complete what instructions, what lessons the speaker would have preferred, would have given to Brian Manning.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
The corporation has an obligation to insure its vehicles. You should first determine the state of the law.
Mr. Chairman, I am not the one required to make the payment.
Well, I'm not going to have any
Let's go to the lines. Let's go to the lines. The people are starting, of course, to. But of course, we are winding down here. It's just now it's 9:30. But let's go to the lines. A pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Good night, Sir Lennox.
Good night to you.
Sir Lennox, if you have mining fowl in a cobra for 9 years and you open that cobra, and that fowl will remain, them chicken will remain in that cobra. Even though you take some corn, food for the chicken, and throw it in the cobra, they will run back in the cobra. For the old good. You carry water cell for the chicken, they'll run back inside the cobra because they're accustomed that way. Was grown up that way, was brought up that way. So too with some people in this country, they custom it one way all the time in life.
Yeah, they have been insulated from reality and the rough and tumble of real life, and so when they are exposed because they lost the elections and now their true self is being exhibited, they then, of course, all of us know now that they were fakes. Yeah, that they were in incognito. Yes, I agree with you, my friend.
Yes, another thing, Mr. Lennox.
Go ahead.
I listened to the debate today in Parliament.
Yeah.
Why in both of them saying the government only under budgeting?
Yeah. Well, you know, they let me put it this way: that suspicion will always be part and parcel of it, conspiracy theory, because
And
as Manning would say, they had to say something, so they're saying something. Go ahead.
Yeah, but comparing this year's figure to last year's, which was more
Right.
on year time, and they do nothing. They still have pothole. They still have bridge to fix.
And
in both self say he are not getting water in his constituency, and so many billions of dollars them passed last year.
Yeah. That's it. And tell us that the government broke, not knowing that is they left the government with nothing, acknowledging their incompetence, impotence, and their disastrous term of 9 point something years.
Then so accustomed over budgeting that they could get a cut. Somebody could get a cut on the way.
Yeah. They did that under the PNM. They did that to get access to the Heritage and Civilization Fund.
Yes. That is their nature. That is in their nature.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what it is.
Nice talking to you.
Same here, and call back anytime, man. Like I had to get back this program to 10 o'clock because like it's around now when I'm ready to close up that people are calling. But go ahead, caller on the handset.
Yeah, good night, Lennox. Are you hearing me?
Yes, I'm hearing you loud and clear.
Okay, good.
All right, have another caller. Caller from Laventil, just hold on. I have another caller on the handset. Go ahead, handset.
No problem. No. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I want the mainstream media to be aware of something. Let them know. The mainstream media are going to the opposition for comments and making newspaper articles from the opposition. There's not a government in place. There's not a new government in place. This is something I want to find out because right now, as I tell you, we are hearing too much of the opposition like they are in charge of the country. And what it is taking, what causing that? What causing that? Why we have that problem in the country? Because when the PNM was in charge and Dr. Rowley then was in charge, they barely wanted to listen to anything that the opposition was saying. So why it is this media houses and them in the country showing that heavy biasness? But I want to tell them something. You all have to maintain that right through because the PNM will never return to power in this country. It will never happen. Never happen. And I want to find out, Lennox, tonight, got some CPEP workers who, like all in the Chinapu and Mova, Laventil, Belmont area, they hearing about the recruitment drive they're hearing and they're finding out from me now.
Right.
And I tell them I will call you, I will come by you in the morning and you will explain to me what it is going on and how they could get along.
Yeah.
You understand? Because remember, it's CPEP because I feel they're supposed to give these people an opportunity before all these other people because remember you stop these people from working.
Yeah. I share your view. I share your view, one. And two, I want to tell you that, of course, we are doing registration here. I did communicate with the head of URP who told me in uncertain terms that the URP offices are now being used for registration purposes. But if they wish, they can come to 55 George Street, and I think tomorrow is the final day, however. And there are people who are not familiar with the computer because you have to register online. And if you're not in a place where somebody can assist you, you may have lost an opportunity. But I will be monitoring it. I will be monitoring it right now. In fact, I'm getting a signal in studio here that right now we are registering people right now. So we are going almost whole night to try to accommodate as much people as possible. That is the commitment all of us have. Go ahead.
What I want to tell you now, I heard you spoke about URP, but what I speak about now is the CPEP worker because CPEP workers.
Yeah, no, the point I'm making about why I mentioned URP, that they could go to the URP offices and register. URP is not it's not for URP purposes. It's because everybody know that name. But the purpose there right now for registration is not for URP. It's for to register for the 20,000 and I assume the rest that will be coming from the private sector jobs that the government has made available or is making available. All right?
What I would do, I will come and give you a visit tomorrow at 9 o'clock when they finish your
program. Yeah, good, beautiful.
And I'll discuss more with you.
Yeah, and see if we could probably we could put something up in Mova or something like that. Once somebody is prepared and we send somebody up there, all of that is possible. All right.
All right, thank you. Good night.
No problem, man. No
Beautiful
problem.
program.
All right. Yes, Mr. Laventil, go ahead.
Yes, good night, Mr. Lennox.
Good night to you.
Good night to everybody in the life.
Yes.
Mr. Lennox, listen to this now. You're aware that the Americans are not here?
I have no doubt in my mind because of
no, they're here right now. They're on the way.
There's an embassy here, so therefore.
You know, well, okay, the warships, that was breaking news just now.
Okay,
it was breaking news.
Okay.
Yes, breaking news that they would be in Trinidad, right? The warships and them would be here and that they would be running military drills and all kind of thing here in Trinidad.
All right,
right?
Yeah. That's part
right?
and parcel.
So you'll be hearing more about it.
Okay,
right?
Thanks.
No, another thing is, I was looking at the Parliament channel earlier on today, and boy, you cannot input Dolly and all these people and them. These people and them, something wrong with these people and them, you know. I always say them mentally disturbed. They become very monotonous, you understand? In a disposition. You telling me that the government say, listen, hey, I budget for so and so and so, and I budget less because I'm pretty sure what I budget, I'll be able to work with it. It would start to get on and carry on and talk. Well, we budget so and so and was so much money. How all the budgeted less? So that tells me a lot.
If what you are saying is so, right? Because the argument was, and under the PNM, it was a practice to over budget. And when you over budget, you now have the basis because there will be a shortfall in revenue because your projection would have been more than you actually earned, and so you have access to the Heritage and Civilization Fund. I think because they mash up that theory, because you have to over budget in order to get there. But if you're under budget, if you know what I mean, the situation may not be so clear cut. Let me put it that way. Yeah.
But Mr. Tanko and the various ministers and so forth were actually clear. They were very clear in the things that they were saying concerning what they budget for. Okay. And I remember Tanko saying, listen, even because they said that they even put aside a particular fund just in case if the thing they're running short, right, they will have access to that fund to continue the program.
Yeah, they looked at various scenarios, which of course is normal. Like in war, I'm sure that the war room in the United States would have looked at several scenarios, the military commanders and so on there, as to how to approach Venezuela, for example. I suppose what you just gave us by way of information is another cog in that process of making certain that when they do meet the confrontation that is inevitable, that they prevail. Go ahead.
Well, listen. I think Jillian John and the Minister of Health, right? I think and the Minister of Ministry of Agriculture. I think that was good. That was real good today.
Okay.
Because the way how they responded to Imbert and them, just want to talk and shout at people like them is the government, you understand, and behaving like if taxpayers' money is their money. I said, but what is wrong with these people like them? Them is only out of government, you know, but only behaving like only is the government. I want to tell the people like that they must do this and must do that.
Yeah, because them is the so-called experts that mash up the country.
Yes.
So
you mash up a country.
Yeah, they remind me of the analogy I used to make, that you give a partner of yours your home, you say, well, you're going away for 6 months, and when you come back, you meet the glass windows out, no roof, all the furniture is gone and so on. And guess what? He coming to you and saying, listen, give my next job now. Give my next job now. Well, that's important. I mean, it is totally hilarious. But of course, it's a practical should I say, graphic example of these people and them. You know you did badly. You know you did awfully. You know you can't manage. You know you didn't manage. You know you stole. You know you are big thieves. You know that you are you are miscreants. But yet still they come in your face and pretending it's not so. But these fellas and them had to be shot with.
Oh, before I go, listen.
With 2-2. Go ahead.
Saddam Hussein, right? He was one of the ministers that was there. And I think he bust one or two interested man.
We have another caller.
Yeah, he bust one or two interested man there. You know, so I'm looking forward to hearing the rest of it. Yeah, I can't remember it now. I do bust a man.
All right, I'll get it before morning. I'll get it before morning. I'll get a breast of all what is happening before morning.
Anyway, let me let you go. I see you have another call.
Yes. So thanks very much for
all right, God bless.
Yes.
All right, my brother.
Yes, man. All right, well, people, I'm looking at the clock and I'm seeing that this has to be the final call. Mr. Tagarigua, go ahead.
Right, you hear me good?
Loud and clear, my friend.
Lennox, the next one, the former Prime Minister, Ochong, they reach a height in madness and lowness. Imagine they try to buy Jolene John over on them side. You know what they tell Jolene John? Can cook it, she short, money for she to feel. Right? On the budget, she so that she will feel. Both of them. But just imagine that, telling a woman like Jolene John that. You must call it up tonight and out. I couldn't believe that.
I said do it.
And the way they say it, I feel sorry for you, but yeah, I given you a budget that you will feel. You're underfunding you to feel. You imagine that, that is the height and lowness and well.
No, I think it's a continuation, it's a continuum of stupidity. It's a continuation of wishful thinking. It's a continuum of recognizing chalk, can't recognize, I should say, or blurring the difference between chalk and cheese. That's what's happening with them. They believe that is their version of what is management, spending money, overruns, etc., will get things done, when in fact the opposite is the case with the UNC and has been so from time immemorial under Pandey, under Kamala Prasad Bisesa, then 2010 to 2015, and it will be so now and into the future because the PNM clearly cannot be anymore.
She had to tell them more money don't mean better performance.
That is the point. Very good, man. So that is the response that ought to have been preferred and was in fact from what you were saying. Go ahead.
She said, I live in St. Anne's and the amount of pothole to go by me, she lives in St. Anne's, right?
Yeah.
But we will fix it. So it don't mean if I get more money that I go fix. And
yeah, I remember the infamous tonight I only talk about infamous statements being made by Rowley and them. Remember it was Rowley who said when of course the potholes were so overwhelming and it became a national disgrace. He then says, well listen, he was too busy trying to save lives, even though more lives was lost per capita under COVID. Based on the resource that they would have been given to manage that, more lives have been lost. But yet still, than anybody else, yeah. But he's saying that he tried to save lives. You mean he want to kill the people and them? That's what happened there.
Yeah. And then the next one before I know you have to wrap up.
Yes. That's it.
Catch me, Dolly.
Yeah.
When they were talking about hospital. Want to know why they spending $10 million for the Cuba Children Hospital and I only built 10 years ago, right? So, the answer she just showed. The dilapidated condition that they know they take out everything, the dancing and them. Because Joel Garcia, they throw it inside the hospital and everything. Everything. Yeah. The dancing, because everything I get in Mount Hope. And the hospital right now have to get back where it's supposed to get back.
Yeah.
To be a top class hospital,
Yeah.
all got speed only come with Lennox.
Yeah.
It's a total insanity. He asked about a hospital that them built. Yeah, what about so-and-so hospital? The minister said, well, that has already that they want no money. She said, yeah, because we PNM build that. You can imagine this backside, right? You want to show the PNM build a hospital.
Yeah. But no, if she said it the way how you have repeated it, all right, let me tell you what she really meant. But she said, what about that hospital? She initially, but she got an opportunity to twist she tongue. To twist she tongue, to bring it to a different way. But what she was really saying is that, what about that, meaning that there should be more money allocated. But when she said, when the response must have triggered a response that to suggest, when she sees she had the opportunity to say, well, it's because the PNM bill it, she then twist she tongue. I'm certain is that what transpired. I will take a look at it. Yeah. So she tried to condemn them first by saying, oh, they didn't put enough money there. But when the response came, she then said, well, it's because it's a PNM hospital. And she started, I'm sure is that what transpired. But go ahead. I know them as I know the back of my hand.
I know that.
Very opportunistic. Very opportunistic.
I don't get time to watch your parliament, boy.
Yeah. All right. Hi, my friend.
So we will talk.
Yeah, we'll talk. Yes. Bye-bye. Yes, indeed, people. Of course, we have come to the end of the program tonight. Very interesting indeed. And let me, of course, run over Brian Manning's, what I consider to be total obtuse, empty-headed, and, of course, what I consider to be a total charlatan, expressing a rudimentary scenario which ought to have been in the deep recesses of his mind to regurgitate, to bring to the fore, and he has failed. A total dunce, in other words. Let's hear him. Yes,
before
indeed.
you laugh and embarrass yourself, right? Usually, insurance is.
Hello. All right, sir.
Chairman, thank you. We seem to have zoomed by 334. So
Sorry?
I wanted to ask a question there. Page 334, 0261, insurance. Can I ask what falls under that line item of insurance?
Yeah, people, we have a little pause, but rest assured, the punchline is coming. The punchline is coming.
Minister?
Yes, this usually covers insurance for vehicles and or buildings and so on. Just double checking some information here.
Yeah.
It's not the medical insurance, from what I know.
It's only for motor vehicle insurance. Only motor vehicle insurance.
Not only, there are other assets that are also insured.
Is it a requirement that these vehicles be insured? Because as state vehicles, before you laugh and embarrass yourself, right? Usually, vehicles be insured. Because as state vehicles, before you laugh and embarrass.
No, he believed that he right, you know. He believed he right. He asked a dotish, obtuse, fatuous question. A total dunderhead, bald-headed dunderhead. Dunderheaded question. And then trying to project that somehow he's intelligent and saying, before you laugh and embarrass yourself, when in fact, he should be buried in the face where the air is rare. Oh gosh, I have another call. All right. We're not going to take any more calls. Not going to take any more calls. All right. Let me get rid of this. So, here it is. He's trying to be smart with foolishness, in other words. But let's go straight.
Right? Usually, insurance is...
All right, sir, Barataria.
Allow me to educate Barataria, please. When you are insured, it's because you're being protected by an institution with a higher financial strength than you have. So who would have a greater financial strength than the state or the government of Trinidad and Tobago?
Wait, that fella...
I'm asking if that's a requirement.
That fella won't help.
Hang on, before you answer that, Minister.
That fella won't help.
Vehicles and road traffic.
But that's what I'm asking. That's what I'm asking. Is that the case?
You are asking the question, so before you ask...
Exactly, I'm asking
hang on
the
a
question.
second.
So, Mr. Chairman, if I knew the answer, I wouldn't ask the question.
Before you ask the question as to whether or not the corporation has an obligation to insure its vehicles, you should first determine the state of the law.
Mr. Chairman, I am not the one required to make the payment.
Well, I'm not going to, having regard to the state of the law, I'm not going to allow that.
What is the state of the law?
All vehicles must be insured, third party risk.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
The law, I'm not going to allow that.
What is the state of the law?
All vehicles must be insured, third party risk.
I'm asking if that's a requirement.
Mr.
Hang on, before...
Or the government of Trinidad and Tobago. I'm asking if that's a requirement.
Mr.
Hang on, before you answer that, Minister.
Who would have a greater financial strength than the state or the government of Trinidad and Tobago? I'm asking if that's a requirement. What is the state of the law?
All vehicles must be insured, third party risk.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. What is the state of the law?
All vehicles must be insured.
So people, of course, I trust that you learned something from that, what I consider to be caricature, that theatrics, that cartoon that we just witnessed, that comedy show with the main protagonist. Let me repeat, the main protagonist is Brian Manning, a total fool. Total. And I hope that the people of San Fernando East would have had enough of that level of tomfoolery that was exhibited in the parliament, purporting to be a representative, when in fact it's a total fake, a shame, embarrassment. And of course, displaying an inability to carry on his shoulders the intelligence and the uprightness of the majority of the constituents of San Fernando East. That legacy of Patrick Manning has been tarnished irreparably. And on the next occasion, whether it's local government or national government, you are required now to dispel that level of ignorance. We just had Diwali, and Diwali symbolizes the triumph of education and edification over ignorance and dunciness. And here it is, of course, just after Diwali, Brian Manning comes into the parliament and tells the people of San Fernando East and the country, being a former Minister of Finance, that insurance is not applicable to companies and the government because they have a large stash of cash or money. So their vehicles owned by them do not have to be insured. I mean, come on. But let's go back, let's end as we started. Caribbean man.
From the same place.
Well, have a wonderful rest of the night. God bless. See you tomorrow morning on the ground report, Andy, Mikey, and myself. And don't forget, of course, we are back here. Let me make sure if today is Thursday or Wednesday. Today is Thursday. Tomorrow night, of course, I will be in my water hole, so to speak. So I'll have my Sabatal tomorrow, and we'll be back out on Saturday. Let's hope that the young people are there. We dedicate, of course, our Saturday program to the young people. Have a wonderful rest of the night. God bless once again. I'll see you tomorrow morning on the Ground Report. Andy, Michael, myself. Bye-bye. Let's leave Stuart Young crying. Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago 2025 to 2025.
So we must push one common intention. It's for a better life in the region. For we women and we children. That must be the ambition of the Caribbean man, the Caribbean man, the Caribbean man.